Hello, cooking enthusiasts. This week's video is going to be another dessert-related video. I know I did the marshmallow video not that long ago, but this is going to be a frozen dessert. I was actually really inspired to try out this recipe after watching another YouTuber, Glen and Friends Cooking. He made a few videos, the first of which was testing out a Depression era recipe that used flavored gelatin as a ice cream stabilizer. That inspired him to develop the recipe further. The second version of his recipe was a bit more refined, and the gelatin was really used to stabilize a really fluffy, almost mousse texture. Using the gelatin to achieve that texture made a lot of sense, but I immediately thought that it might also work for a more dense gelato texture. So obviously I could have used unflavored gelatin and made the gelato any flavor I wanted, but I thought it would be more fun to do what Glen did and use flavored gelatin. So I decided to go with blue raspberry because it's a flavor that's very nostalgic for me. I do actually really enjoy it. And there's also something intriguing about a flavor that you can't quite replicate with real ingredients. So the foundation of my recipe was one package of Berry Blue Jell-O, although I'm sure you could use a different brand of flavored gelatin mix. One package was 80 grams, and about 70 of that was sugar, so I was factoring that into the recipe. On top of that, I wanted about 90 to 100 additional grams of sugar, and for me, that came in the form of a blue raspberry syrup I had on hand. This seemed like a relatively high-end Italian brand as far as blue raspberry syrup goes, but they are really easy to get online for snow cones and stuff. If you do try this with a different type of syrup, just check the nutritional information to figure out what's going to get you between 90 and 100 grams of sugar. For me, that was 125 mils. I was heating up about 500 grams of milk and also dissolving into that between 20 and 30 grams of milk powder to compensate for some of the water in the syrup. With very frequent stirring, we brought the milk to just under boiling before adding to the gelatin and syrup mixture. Honestly, at the very beginning, the mixture looked a little broken and potentially curdled, but that may have just been uneven gelatin dissolving. I potentially should have warmed this mixture up a little bit on its own to ensure everything dissolved, but in the end, it worked out. I wanted everything combined thoroughly, but not quickly, because again, I'm not trying to incorporate air into the mixture. This is also when I decided to incorporate the cream, which was 210 grams of heavy whipping cream. Once all the mixing was done, the mixture had cooled down significantly and again start to partially set. But it was now time to blend the mixture because I didn't want a solid gel, I wanted a fluid gel. I fortunately have access to a Vitamix, which is good because I can actually blend things on a relatively low speed, which is important for avoiding air. Once it was totally smooth, the mixture was transferred to a bowl in an ice bath to at least bring it down to room temperature, and then it was placed in the fridge for a few hours. After the fridge, the mixture got much thicker and again started to form almost a solid gel, so it got a second low-speed blending before the liquid mixture rested in the freezer. I do use a very basic home ice cream machine, but as I've mentioned in previous gelato recipes, I like to bring the mixture down to roughly 0 Celsius. This allows me to achieve the final texture in the ice cream machine faster, therefore less churning and again, less air incorporation. Overall, I would say this totally worked. The texture was definitely a little bit different, but the gelatin did give it some body. The flavor was decent, but I probably would make a few adjustments next time. And interestingly, it did have some fluid gel properties even as it started melting. So yeah, definitely something fun and interesting. You could try this with any Jell-O flavor you like, and I might even consider adding a small amount of unflavored gelatin to other gelato recipes. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider sharing it. If you have any questions about this recipe, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for watching.